I'm drinking out of a red Solo cup tonight, Chris, but I'm drinking Gatorade out of it. So I think I that one is one of my all-time, like, so in answer to your question, like, would it have sold if it has a different pickup in it? Maybe. I think chrome pickups are people that, like, they want chrome pickups.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what people want.
Me neither.
I don't know what they want. Here's what I have a question for you. Do you think people want what time is it? 4:58. Do you think people want Floyd Rose tremolos?
I think people only want Floyd Rose tremolos.
No, I'm actually serious. And here's the question.
I think there are some people that like Floyd Rose.
Do you think
tremolos?
a Floyd Rose non-tuner, like the old school kind, without the fine tuners on the back? Do you think one of those with locking tuners would be as cool as a lock nut or cooler than a lock nut?
One without the fine tuners?
Yeah.
I would like to try.
How about fine tuners
I would like to try one without the fine tuners and without a lock nut.
Without the fine tune. Okay.
I think I could get it to stay in tune. And
would you use locking tuners?
I would use locking tuners just because they're easy to use.
Yeah, that's true.
And really, after you get rid of the string stretch, the rest of it's just the stuff around the peg. There's a lot of.
I think you still have to cut the ball ends off. And then put them in the thing and lock them down.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Yeah, maybe I'd use locking. Maybe I wouldn't. Maybe I'd just use regular ones and do it the other way around.
Well,
no, I would use locking ones. I'd cut the ball end off. I'd stick it in. I'd mount it that way. Run it up.
It'd be fun.
Lock it down. Yeah, it would be. And I think.
What do you think of that?
I think Floyd is a neat trim. They're loosey goosey. But the thing I don't like about them is that goddamn lock nut.
The lock nut makes it tricky.
Total overkill on those guitars, and you get it in tune, and it's just a whole setup thing that's frankly too much work. It's an overcorrection for out of tune tremolos.
All right, let's come back and talk to that here in a little bit, because I think this warrants more discussion.
Okay.
So let's try to remember, like, the trem disc. I think it's a good one. Yeah. Hey everybody, it's Matt, and we're at Texas Toast Guitars, and I'm with
Chris.
Yeah. So hey, you guys are probably all watching Ike and Dylan over at Flipside Music, the great American guitar store. Make sure to show those guys some love. If your name is Rob and you live in Virginia, your guitar got sealer on it today, and man, yeah, it's a cool one.
Yeah. It's a shame we're gonna paint the whole top black.
I know,
all
right?
That nice flame up.
Yeah. So it's a one piece everything.
It is one piece back,
one piece back,
top.
Yep.
Neck is 2 pieces.
Is it? It's mahogany neck? I don't think it is. I think it's a one piece. No, because I made the neck.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so one piece. Well, it's got a fretboard and it's got binding, but
if you believe in glue math,
it's got hardly any glue.
Yeah. So that guitar is going to be pure magic.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can talk Rob out of painting the back black, because it's a one piece. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
It's pretty neat looking. Mahogany, sometimes they look one piece until you look at the
and then you can really
edge
see
anyway. But yeah, the top is obviously one piece.
Yeah.
It's loaded with flame and there's no seam, and the back is really nice looking too. So there you go.
All right. So Chris, I have one question for you today. It's a geography question.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not very strong in geography.
All right. This one I think you're going to do great on.
I might actually be better in geometry than geography.
I don't have any
I'm
geometry.
not very good at geometry.
All right. I think you're going to do great on this one.
Okay. I'm ready.
Name the 10 states that have 2 words that, you know what I mean? So like Colorado is one word.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Ready?
Can I do it?
I think you can do it.
I'm
going to help you out if you need help.
New Jersey.
Right.
New York.
Okay.
New Mexico.
Okay. Off to a great start.
Thanks. Let me work from one end of the
Okay.
country to the other.
You got one more new.
New Hampshire.
Okay. You guys
South
know.
Dakota.
Okay.
North Dakota.
Okay. How are you guys doing at home?
4 more.
Uh-huh.
Shit. And here's where I start running into
You got another
one up.
Uh-huh. Oh, no, another up and down one.
Oh, okay. North and South Carolina.
Uh-huh. There you go. There's only 2 left.
Only 2 left. And their states.
Yeah.
Good God. This is putting me on the spot.
And I forgot all the ones.
Yeah,
it's okay. No.
Like you're really stupid, Chris.
Nope. This is not easy.
Give me a minute.
Okay.
Let's talk about some other stuff. And
hold on. You got a right and left. What do you got to?
I got a right and a left.
What about you got like a mountain mambo? You guys right on the tip of your tongue. Take me home, country road.
West Virginia.
There you go. Yeah.
And
so there's another one. East Virginia. It's not that.
No, it's not.
I can't even remember. All right.
What's the 10th one?
Oh, actually, I do remember what it was.
All right, just tell me.
It's Rhode Island. And you know what? Yeah,
Damn it.
And Driddle said it. Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute. I know there's no East Virginia. Which one was it? Yeah. So you did good though.
Well, I did okay.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't point to any of those on a map.
Sure, you could.
I mean,
New
I
Mexico.
can hit New Mexico.
Yeah, every time. Yeah. So
but
that's
they didn't teach. This is weird. They didn't really teach geography at the schools I went to. My parents were appalled. That might have been one of the reasons that I went to a private school at one point, and they still didn't teach it at the private school either.
I remember you could either choose between history or geography.
Maybe.
And I never took geography.
I took history. I love history.
Yeah, me too.
I could care less where it happened.
What if it happened in East Virginia?
In East Virginia, yeah. The Great War of East Virginia.
In New Idaho. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. Okay. Anyway, well, how'd you guys do at home? Let me know.
There's Idaho and Idaho.
Yeah. How'd you guys do with the 10 states with 2 words? I hope that you guys did good. Chris did a good job too.
I'm like Las Vegas. No,
that's you know what? It's not a whole lot going on.
It should be in a state.
Rob sent us a super chat and he says, "Trusting Matt to make final choice for the back and keeping it ad free." Well, thank you, Rob. So, Rob, we're going to talk more because we'll
take some pictures and send them to you.
Man, it's really neat, man.
It's pretty neat.
Jacob says that he's getting very excited for Essential Neck Building. I got to tell you, my friend, I'm getting very excited for Essential Neck Building. I think the curriculum for that is going to be really fun. Lots of predominantly hand tools, lots of old school way to do stuff. So old school that it's the first many necks that I built in the 80s were done using the techniques that we're going to talk about in Essential Neck Building. Okay, Chris.
I think you have enough time to well, I know we do, to really deep dive into it and go slow and ruin something. I'm looking forward to ruining things.
Maybe.
Because sometimes you don't know. I think you learn as much ruining things as maybe more than you do getting it right.
Absolutely, Chris. I think that if you allow yourself to make mistakes and learn from them.
If you learn from them.
Some people just get angry when
just
they
do
make
it
mistakes
over and over the wrong way.
Well, that can happen too. But anyway, so the other day I was rethinking my whole. Is the air compressor off by any remote chance? You can hear me. Thank you for looking. I was rethinking my whole attitude towards the comment section recently, Chris. Oh, did it? I have you guys been watching the Uncle Matt stories videos? I hope that you have been, because I'm having a good time doing those, and I'd like to do more of them. And I kind of do a bunch of them. Like I'll sit down and do a bunch of them, so there's a handful more that I haven't posted yet. Have you listened to any of those? I mean,
Yeah,
you know all the stories, but
I didn't watch all of the if I had it all to do over.
Oh,
'cause we
okay.
talked about that.
yeah.
Um,
But you know all the stories too, so
Well,
it's not like
yeah. There was nothing new in that one, but the other ones, yeah, they're fun, and people seem to like them.
people
They're
have
not
been
making videos for me.
no, I'm not. I but I was thinking about it. Most of the comments that I got on all those videos were really, really nice.
Mhm.
People said like a lot of really cool stuff.
Yeah, was that the one that you're not supposed to do a bunch of bong hits and then?
No, I
And
don't.
then
I
there's
don't
another
think
video?
so.
Okay.
And I. So here's my. But there are a handful of people who just come on the comment section and just are butts.
Yeah,
And
that happened. It's not just us.
no.
Newsflash.
Yeah. So it's not really helpful. Nobody gets anything out of people doing that. So I've decided that.
The only person that gets anything out of it's the person leaving the trashy
I
comments, and I don't know what they get out of it.
And I don't know what they
but
get.
yeah, that's pretty sad if they do get something out of it.
Actually, I never thought about that, but you're right.
Yeah.
So I've decided that if all you do is come on and leave just kind of comments to just be a jerk, I'm just going to go ahead and hide you from the channel.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You can do whatever you want.
Is they think they don't have the keys. They don't hold the cards. We hold the cards.
Well,
we can make you disappear instantly,
and
you can go out
I
and get a new account and blah blah blah.
Yeah, and I hate really, doing that. I hate that. I feel like I have to do that, but because I used to be like, unless you said something racist or something, I just left it up there.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, there's a handful of guys that like all they do is just tell me how much they don't like me. I'm like, well, okay, I get it. There are people who don't like
over
me.
and over again.
Yeah.
It's one thing to say you don't like somebody one time and then leave and
never
come back.
Yeah.
But when they do it every video,
yeah,
you're like, okay.
So I had a guy today. This is the inverse of this. A guy left me a comment on an older video today, and he's like, I really like your channel and blah blah blah. Your stuff is fun. I enjoy it. He said, as far as your not using a microphone and being a wood shop first and a YouTube creator down the line, there are lots of wood shops that do that. And he said, I'm not trying to I'm trying to offer constructive criticism. He said, if you're too cool to do it, then well, okay, I'm not. Everyone knows I'm not too cool.
Yeah.
But so I mean, I don't care if people leave stuff like that, but like if they just come on and just try to make fun of me or put me down, I'm not going to leave that stuff up anymore.
Yeah.
So
okay.
And I'm just going to block them. So anyway, so that's kind of a new thing that I've been doing, in addition to my Uncle Matt stories.
Okay.
So yeah, what have you been doing, Chris?
You've been blocked.
Yeah, I don't say anything. I just do it.
Do it.
Yeah.
So what have I been doing?
Uh-huh.
Lots and lots of paint work this week.
Okay.
I painted a bunch of guitars.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And I sealed a bunch today. I'm going to seal a bunch tomorrow. And I finished up a couple of guitars. Yeah.
We
lots and lots and lots of paint.
There is a bunch of stuff.
What happens when Matt finishes like 12 guitars, and it's like, well, now they need paint. Oh, okay, cool. And we always have, so we had a bunch that were in sealer and needed paint, and now we have a bunch that were in wood and needed sealer.
Yeah.
So yeah, and the ones that are now painted will get assembled.
Yeah.
The ones that are in sealer will get painted, and the world will go round and round, over and over.
And it keeps happening.
Yeah, there's 3 or 4 phases of all of this stuff, maybe big phases.
Mm-hmm.
And
I got some. Pardon me. No.
So yeah.
The stuff in the paint booth right now looks really terrific. We've got the PRS stuff for the PRS class going in the paint booth tomorrow.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see those.
Work on those today to get them ready.
I talked with Doug Santaniello about his guitar today. So for those of you who are wondering, Oh, speaking of, for those of you who are wondering, we want to talk about that today too. But for those of you who are wondering, I ordered all the Paul Reed Smith parts. So like tuners and bridges and bodies and necks and frets and all that stuff. And it's trickling in because it takes a while to do. And Doug was talking to me today and he was on the road. He was driving to South Florida. That's why Doug may or may not be in the chat tonight. But
state?
Yeah.
South Florida?
No, it's a state of mind. Yeah. But he's going, I'm like, oh, you going to do anything fun? He's like, I might play golf, but I'm going to help somebody rebuild their bathroom. I'm like, oh man, that's a drag. But Doug's good at that. He's good at home. Doug's good at lots of stuff, including home renovation. Maybe I'll have him help me redo my bathroom when he comes out here.
There you go. Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to having Doug and Dan and Dave and Candle, and there's a couple people who are coming to the first one who I've never met before, and we've got Brian, and I'm trying to remember who's in the second one. There's a lot of guys who I don't know. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they build, and you and I will be building guitars with everybody at the same time. Part of that is because some people have already bought our prototypes. So we sold the leopard one, and we sold the flaming maple. And actually, we sold two of those. One we haven't done yet, and one we have. We still have the kind of plain one that with P90s and the wraparound bridge. But I think when you guys see how neat this looks, you'll be like, "Ooh, I want that one." But you know what else we haven't seen for a while, Chris? And I actually kind of teased this a little bit, but you've seen it.
Yes, I know exactly what
you
you're
guys
talking
haven't
about.
seen it.
Yeah.
So hold on, let me grab it. It's well, I'll just get it.
Okay.
You guys know what it is because you saw the.
Yeah. There it is.
It's close.
Good. The whole reason this is now this is because I am such a completionist.
Hold on, let me move. That I'm gonna knock that over. Okay.
I hope you do.
I hope I don't, because I'll make
So
a
sticko
meso.
And Matt said something about something about something, and the next thing you know, I've got all the parts, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna finish this thing up in between paint drying and waiting for tape to tape time and stuff like that. So
Bob Potter asked, been meaning to ask, where did you get your hat? Bob, if you're talking to me, I got this hat from Two Roads Hat Company, and I think Joy is working on a deal. If you guys want my hat, not mine, but if you want this hat, you can get one. Joy's working on a deal with Two Roads Hat Company right now. So what do you think about the 2x4 SG, Chris?
It's a guitar.
Well, it is a guitar. It's got strings. It's strung up, as you guys can see. It's got pickups. They all work. You have to take my word for it. Tony sent us a super chat and said, just because happy Friday Eve. Thank you so much, Tony. And thanks for helping us keep it ad-free, amigo.
Yep. So, really for what it is, it's pretty neat. It turned out pretty cool. The next step is you're going to take it to.
Well, yeah. So Sean says, "Oh wow, that's cool." Pete says, "Cool. How does it play?" Driddle says, "Looks amazing." I'm all. So it doesn't play great right now.
No, and the reason for that is
because we haven't set it up.
Correct.
And we haven't set it up.
It's got a roughed-in neck.
Yep.
We haven't done anything to the frets other than what we initially do. I set string height a little bit, not much, but we're going to take it to Steve, and he's going to get to put it on the Plek machine.
We're going to have this guitar Plek, or I'm actually going to give this to.
And one of the things that his Plek machine can do is nuts. And so that's one. It's raining. Yeah. And it'll do nuts. So I haven't done anything to the nut.
Maybe you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to drop. I'm going to see Steve on Saturday in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Rusty, I see your comment and I want to talk to you about that.
So show everybody. My favorite part of this is the dumb pick guard thing.
Oh yeah.
So it says 2x4 and it's got a warped 2x4 on it.
So I think maybe I'll go get a hamburger with Steve on Friday afternoon and go, hey, Steve, do you like Wendy's? Because I'm going to see if you like Wendy's nuts, go over to your shop and you pleck them. And anyway.
So anyway, yeah. So Ike came by today and he's playing. He was like, it's not really that horrible.
Yeah.
But it's not good yet.
No, it's not.
But the neck has stayed straight.
No, we haven't tuned it to concert pitch.
No, it's tuned to D right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I also, I didn't, because I knew what was going on. I didn't do anything with the truss rod. Wherever the truss rod was,
that's what
the last time it was adjusted is where it is now. It was pretty dang straight when I put strings on it.
Yeah. So. But it's a guitar and it's ready to. I told you guys that I was going to take this over to.
Ready to rock.
Told you I was going to take it over to Steve's and have him pluck the neck, because that just seems like the most absurd thing to do, and so that's kind of where I live. Right, this is a dumb guitar, and
this is one of the rare occasions where it actually looks better on video than it does in person.
It doesn't look bad. Yeah.
No, and it's an okay looking guitar.
Yeah.
The funny thing about this is it's real easy to cut corners as you're building it.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Because what it is. If this was better wood, or even if it was really fancy wood, you
wouldn't. Yeah.
But this is like, how good is this thing ever going to be?
Yeah.
Who knows?
And I purposely left the neck big.
Yeah, that was the first thing I noticed after we strung it up and tuned it up. I went,
it doesn't have a 60s neck. Yeah, it's got a great big neck. And
it's not huge, but it's
full
size.
Yeah. So Steve is going to do some pluck work on this, and then Steve and I are actually going to talk about what he thinks of this guitar. And spoiler alert, it's if you're going to make this guitar, spend a few more dollars and get some nice wood. Okay. But yeah, it's can you do it?
This project would have been good if it stopped at woodwork. Yeah. And you went, okay, I can do it.
I can do it.
You're
right.
Instead of, there's a bunch of time in paint. No, there's a bunch of time in assembly. Not a bunch of time. But
I think Steve wants to see it because we used his templates to do this.
That's true.
And
that's a cool part of it.
Yeah. Okay, so Chris, Rusty Shackelford says the bad part about seeing his guitar with all the other guitars is he sees how good all the other guitars look. The orange Rusty guitar on the very end, the lighting is it just looks orange from here. That thing is crazy cool. Jimmy walked in and he's like, whoa, what's that one? So yeah, dude, wait till you see it. It's really, really excellent.
Yeah.
So
I sprayed and looked at the picture, and sprayed and looked at the picture, and yeah, it's neat. It's got a really cool top, and you'll dig it. It's got the reveal binding on it. Really pops on the side. It's going to be really cool. So
yeah.
So don't sweat it. It's cool.
We did a killer job on all of them, and yours is one of them.
It is true. Yeah. It looks really good. So
so there's some talk of people like about what I love Gibson guitars, and I'm not claiming that I reinvented the wheel. I just made people think that
the SG.
So someone's like, at least Gibson's original. You're just copying things. I made the reason that I made an SG was,
I know the exact reason why you made an SG.
You do. Why don't you go ahead and explain it to the guy who is already upset with
material thickness? Yeah. You glue up a bunch of 2x4s, and they were 2x4s from a bench that was upstairs in the not down here in the dungeon.
Yeah.
No, it was right there. We tore it apart. We threw away the MDF. You took all the 2x4s and made that guitar out of it. So and SGs are really thin.
Yeah.
So you can
a 2x4 is at its maximum
1.5.
1.5. Yeah, and you have to plane it
at
down.
This point,
so.
3.5 by 1.5 if you're lucky. And you plane it down until it's square, and then you glue it together, and that's why you made an SG. Also, you want to make something, I think for a project like that, you probably want to make it a guitar that is familiar.
Yeah.
Because you're sort of comparing and contrasting. You don't want to make something wildly different that nobody's going to know if it's good or bad because it's so out there.
Yeah. Well, this is okay. So
and
this
dopey guitar.
There's a guy who was on here who really just kind of proved my point about, if you're just going to come on here and just be a tool bag, and you don't want to be here, just go away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna go. So I already blocked him, and I'm sure he can still watch, but you can't comment anymore. So I'm just kind of getting tired of, it is, Chris.
That kind of negativity.
You know what life's
like
not.
Said,
what's that?
Yeah, I'm the captain now.
Yeah,
I'm the captain.
You know what's
Matt
not.
Is the captain.
You know what's not too short is to take a super chat from Paul McNary, who says,
Hey,
"How would you know what wood if it was painted?" Great point, Paul. But I kind of dig that it looks like a 2x4.
Yeah. Yeah. That that was something, and that's why it has that lack of color on it. I mean, that is sealer and clear. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good or bad. We did tint the headstock a little bit just as
that's true.
Just as a thing. Yeah. The funny thing to me, can I tell my little drill story about that guitar?
Yeah, please do.
That particular wood is really, really soft wood, like this much, followed by little tiny bits of pretty hard wood.
Yeah.
And so every once in a while when you're drilling holes, you would hit one of those really hardwood sections and it would just automatically push the drill bit into the soft stuff.
Yeah.
So, so drilling holes in it in a non-homogeneous wood like that was kind of unique. And I'd known that about 2x4s,
Sure.
And like, if you use a nail gun and you're shooting nails and all of a sudden the nail comes shooting through this way. That's why.
Yeah.
Is because it doesn't want to go through that hard stuff. It'll take the easiest path.
Yeah.
And so it was fun to assemble it because the wood was either super soft or impenetrable.
Yeah. And I didn't do it to make Gibson feel any better or any worse or really anything. And no one at Gibson cares what I'm doing.
No.
I just did it because I thought it would be funny.
Well, I think, so size of wood, you could have pancaked stuff and built it up. But also, I mean, you kind of like making SGs.
I love SGs. My very first guitar was an SG, as a matter of fact. So
and I think that lends itself well to this particular guitar. You have almost zero purchase on the neck pocket.
If it works,
you've
given
any guitar.
Yeah, if it works on this one, it'll work on anything.
Yeah. And so and really that guitar was video fodder.
Yeah.
If it stays a guitar, cool.
Mm-hmm.
If it never gets strummed again after Steve is done with it, cool. It served its purpose. It's the it's a car from Gas Monkey Garage. It's
Bob Potter sent us a super chat, said keeping it ad free. Thank you so much, my friend. Shane's off to do some work. Shane, have a great night, man.
Get to work, Shane. Do we know Shane? Do I know Shane?
Yeah, I think we know Shane. Jay says, here's to keeping it ad-free and negativity-free. Thank you, Jay. And I saw your comment from earlier before, man. Yeah, I don't have time for that kind of stuff anymore. Van Shank Guitar says, using a free super chat to praise ad-free status. God bless you, my friend. Loring says most shapes are public domain now, except for headstocks. Electric guitars will be treated like old violins in a couple hundred. Yeah, I don't know if SGs are public domain or not. I don't. Gibson shapes are.
Gibson's got a lock on a bunch of those.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can go onto AliExpress and all these other places and buy all sorts of Chinese ripoff stuff that the big manufacturers are seemingly unconcerned with.
I think that as soon as I try to sell that, which I'm not going to do, by the way, If I were to
No,
try
we're
and
gonna put it
sell
up
that,
next
then
proudly to the plywood Les
the
Paul.
plywood Les Paul,
Yeah.
that's right.
You're already talking about what other materials can we build something from Home Depot.
I'm running out
We've
of
talked
Home Depot guitar
foam,
stuff.
and yeah.
Dan says, craftsmen don't belittle other craftsmen. Guitarists don't bring down other guitarists. Only those that cannot do bring down them. Bring down those who cannot.
Right.
Bring them.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate it. Paul McNary sends a super chat and says, so it's more of a workability issue rather than of a tone wood debate. Absolutely.
Yes, that was absolutely the whole point of this thing was.
Somebody had asked in a comment, they're like, should I use a 2x4? Should I practice making necks with 2x4s? And I said, no. It was in a live thing like this.
It was, yeah.
And I said, no, you shouldn't. And then I got to thinking about it more, and I'm like, well, what would happen if you did? And then what would happen if you went from I should just practice to like, this absurd idea of make a whole guitar?
Well, and that was the thing was, you started out with a neck and you went, well, that went pretty good. And really I don't know that I learned anything from using that. Let's continue down the road with this thing. And the next thing you know, there's a body and a neck and it's no big deal to go from there. And then people started clamoring for, finishing it up, because every single piece of wood that you turn into a guitar shaped object has to be finished.
That's right, Chris. It has to be, yeah.
According to internet law, that's what needs to happen. You're not allowed to cut them in half. You're not allowed to never finish them. You absolutely have to make every single wood project that's shaped like a guitar a playable guitar.
Yeah.
Come hell or high water, no matter how good and or bad that guitar turns out to be.
It's gotta be.
Because why?
Because it might be the greatest guitar ever.
Sure. I was going to go with because some kid might enjoy it.
Oh, some kid might.
Yeah. You're going to give. Yeah. I like the idea that all these poor kids only get everybody's dregs.
Yeah. Why they should get a good guitar.
They should get a good guitar. Yeah. Ike was actually talking a little bit about that the other day because he does some charity stuff. And I was like, yeah, I mean, you're already, if you're a kid, this is a total separate tangent. So you're a kid and you sort of know that you're poor, that you're not financially advanced. And so what do you get for Christmas? A used guitar.
Some jive. Yeah.
Yeah. Or what, whenever you get it, it's like, yeah, maybe we could organize some new guitars.
We've actually got some of the, as you guys probably know, I'm going to get to the rest of your super chats here in just a second, but as you guys know, we do a Toys for Tots thing every year, and you guys help us out by bringing toys for tots when you come to the workshops.
The pile's getting big.
The pile's getting big, and there's a couple of guitars over there that are some. I think some young person is going to be really happy and really excited to get a cool guitar, and or Legos or whatever whatever's over
there's
there.
a bunch of good stuff over there.
Yeah,
but anyway.
3J Music said in super chat form, you've arrived when the trolls come out, and the SG looks badass.
Yeah,
Thank you, my friend. Yeah, you do.
Dylan is like really arrived because he had an awesome one the other day.
He got a bunch of flack.
Yeah.
You always get the most flack when you're over the target. Jay says, question, do you guys need to use moisture meters for the stock you get? No, Jay, and the reason is because we don't get that much stock.
Yeah.
It's not like we get it by the truckload.
Yeah, the other reason is because we buy it from people that are musical instrument savvy.
Yeah.
And that's their business. Mm-hmm. So we trust them.
And we live in virtually humidity-free Colorado, and we let everything sit and acclimate. So
even if you go to the lumber yard, you're pretty damn sure they've had that wood for quite a while. Yeah. We're not buying the stuff that everybody wants.
Now, 2x4s totally different. Totally different.
Yeah. So our 2x4s were acclimated because we built that bench 5 years ago, 4.5 years ago.
They weren't going to get any drier.
Yeah, they were not going to get any drier. So
Zed says he thinks that the headstock is like the signature of an artist. I think Zed is right. Van Shank Guitar sent us a super chat and says, try balsa wood next time. No, I'm not doing that.
we have a
silly
basswood right now. That's virtually the same thing.
Rusty Shackelford says, is all the extra work involved with using 2x4s render it cost effective or more expensive than using mahogany when you factor in the time? Absolutely. It wouldn't have been that much more money to just use, good guitar wood.
Yeah. And I don't know how much time you spent planing and machining wood.
It wasn't too bad, but it was some.
But
yeah.
We have all the tools to do that. We have all the tools to do that pretty damn fast.
Mm-hmm.
So that helps. But you have to have those tools
Yeah.
versus buying a body blank and a neck blank
Yeah.
that's already sized for the most part and starting to hack on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom says he got his shirt today and the same one you're wearing, Chris. So that's one of the good ones. Did anyone get one of the hamburger ones?
We're talking about how Teespring took a little while. So
okay.
Yeah, I hope that people get their stuff sooner than later. We have no control over that at all. We don't see anything ever after you order it.
No, we don't. Joey Daniel Guitar said, traveling again, ad free. Brian made me do it. And he said, bicycle for the kids. Yeah, Doug always throws down with lots of really, really good. You guys all do. But like I know Doug's bought bikes and all kinds of stuff. So, and I really appreciate it. It's one of the neatest things that I think we when we started doing that, I felt really good about it. And I like to go, just even if it's just like a little thing I like to get stuff for little kids. Cause I think that I feel good. So, anyway, and if you guys don't come to a class, there's probably a Toys for Tots near you too. So you can, you don't have to, send it to us. You can do it.
Yeah, you can do it. You can, if you want to, give us toys to give away. You can have stuff shipped from Amazon.
Yeah.
Gift it to us and we'll gladly take it to Toys for Tots. Yeah. You don't just have to come to a class if that's the way you want to do it, or find your local chapter, or find, there's
usually around
Christmas,
there's like things
and, all sorts of things that do that stuff. And it's, it's really cool.
And the Marine Corps does it. So they put on all they go get it and do all that stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, have I ever tried to make an acoustic guitar? Seems pretty challenging. Yeah. So I've made acoustic guitars before. That when I went to Roberto Venn, we built an electric guitar and an acoustic guitar. When I worked for acoustic? I gave that one away almost immediately to a friend of mine whose guitar was stolen. Oh, okay. And this was in 1990, and it was a friend of mine from high school, and their guitar was stolen, so I gave him that one. I don't know if they still have it. Yeah, it's been 35 years. Mm-hmm. No, more than that.
10-year old.
Yeah. So, but yeah, acoustic guitars are definitely a different breed. I mean, obviously, like stuff like fretwork and shaping a neck is very similar. It's just a different thing, different spatial kind of.
I think there's some different tooling and
some different tooling,
clamping, and there's some different kind of ideals and ideas around it. I think neither one of us would have a problem learning to build acoustics. Building acoustics.
No,
it would just be a little bit of a learning curve.
And we have all the stuff. It's
we actually do.
Actually, yeah, we do. I'm not super happy with my side bender, and I'm not super happy with my my go board. But yeah, and anyway, so.
Those are money problems. You can fix that with money.
You can fix that with money.
We don't even have to get better at anything at that point. We just spend more money on it.
Dylan sent us a super chat and says, I bought the hamburger for my son. I don't know what that means, but I'm glad that you got. He
bought the hamburger shirt.
I'm like, I don't think Dylan eats hamburgers. So, but maybe he got one for his son. Maybe his son eats hamburgers.
I think that's a veggie burger on that shirt.
I think so. Doc sent us a super chat and says, hey boys, I'm late to the party. Did we settle on a date for the Cridman party? Actually, Joy and Chris and Dina from Odyssey Beer Works, the great American Beer Works, have it all figured out. I believe Joy's probably put it in here already, but I think it's December 14th. Doc, we want to actually talk with you about guitar finishing workshop. That's right.
Episode of Texas Toast Guitars.
Van Shank says, "How long was the Roberto Venn course?" You know what? Let's talk about that just for a moment because I want to do an Uncle Matt story about that one. It was 6 months,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, in 1989. I don't know what it is now, but I think then it was. Doc, we want to.
Now.
Yeah, so it's been 35. Yeah, back in the 80s, it was about 6 months. Now in 2024, I don't know how long.
I don't think it's quite that long because remember, Mike Mann went, and he started hitting us with emails about how he'd gone and done this and done that, and it was 4 or 5 months, I think.
Yeah.
So
Doc says he's all ears. Doc, one of the things that we want to do is we want to offer an essential guitar finishing workshop, and there have been a handful of people that have expressed interest in it. You've expressed an interest in it. Zed's expressed an interest in it. What we want to do, though, is we want to figure out a way to make it work for everybody.
Guinea pig with somebody.
We need some guinea pigs, yeah.
And if you're going to be here,
we're wondering if you might want to spend a week with us.
Maybe a week or even just a couple extra days. We can sort of whittle it down.
No, 6 days, Chris.
6 long, hard days. Yep.
So Loring says RV is 4 months, Benji. So yeah, so I don't know. Maybe it's different now. Maybe it's the same, and I'm misremembering. I don't know.
Just seemed like 6.
It was. I know I was there.
Younger then.
I know I was there in August, and I know I was there in December.
Okay.
So maybe I was there in July. So maybe it's only 4. I don't know.
Yeah.
Loring says he'd like to come and paint guitars that he made. I mean. Well, let's talk about it. If you guys want to, we got to figure this out. So, Sean says he'd like a finishing workshop too. So Sean Joint.
Okay, not Sean Emenheiser, who does not need a finishing.
I don't think Sean Emenheiser needs to have us show him how to do anything. Yeah. So anyway, Chris, why is guitar finishing so hard? Why is it the hardest?
I saw this as the title for tonight, and so I started thinking about it 5 minutes before we went on. No.
Sean says finish class sounds like sanding class. Yeah. That's Sean Emenheiser, by the way.
Yeah. And I think because there's a bunch of different ways to do it. And everybody, look, Chris is tongue tied. Hey, isn't this fun?
You know what? You want to know what? One reason I think it's one of the hardest parts.
Yeah,
because you're so close to the end.
Yeah, I think,
and it's easy to go. No one will see that, and then it sticks out like.
Yeah. So, but I think there's a lot of. I think the closer you get to the finish, the more nervous you get about stuff.
Yeah.
You start second guessing what you're doing, and all of a sudden little issues become big issues.
Yeah.
And you basically talk yourself out of doing it well or something like that.
My biggest issue with finish is, this is something that I've had to come to terms with myself, as of course, everybody, we can say this over and over again till we are blue in the face. It's all about the prep work. The sealer coat has to be like spot on.
Yeah.
And I used to look at the sealer coat and go, you won't see that. And you do.
And you do.
And then it sticks out like this glaring void that you can't not see.
Yeah.
And getting the sealer. Remember before we started doing, by the way, guys, Sunday's video is going to be on UV pore fill. But don't worry, we're going to make it fun. Sealer coat, you spend all this time sealing it and prepping it for sealer and then sealing it and then sanding it all back. And you think, right on, I'm ready to paint. No, we really need to hose another round or two of sealer.
That's the way we used to do it. That was our process. We'd shoot, 2 rounds of sealer, let that cure, sand it back, and shoot 2 more rounds of sealer on it.
And that was when we were working 2 or 3 days a week tops on guitar stuff.
Yeah.
And it was like, God, it's so close. Well, can't we just do
Can't
it?
we sand it back enough to get it? No, you can't.
No.
Yeah. The sealer has to look, and it's amazing, things that you think are really, really good aren't.
Yeah.
Until you start putting sealer on it, and then you see them and you're like, oh, okay. And there's this whole thin finish and all that stuff. Don't think anybody else's finishes are thin unless it's rubbed on oil or something like that.
Our finishes are surprisingly thin.
They actually are very, very thin. Yes, but it's because we put on a lot of sealer and we sand most of it off.
So much of it off. Yeah.
And and then you go from there. And I think there's a lot of setup and paint tips and paint guns and all that stuff. And it's hard to learn about that stuff.
Yeah.
Watching YouTube videos. Most of those paint guys are high because they've been spending all their time sniffing paint.
Sean says paint can go bad and set you back so quickly. And I don't think he means that. I mean, paint can phically spoil in the can.
Oh,
but I don't. But I think what he means is,
it bites me all the time. And
Jake has a question that I think is a good one, and it reminds me of something I heard Bruce Clay say one time, and he asks, do you spray twice, sand, spray twice, sand again, and then spray? It doesn't necessarily work like that. So today we did UV pore fill, which is a wipe-on product. And then you wipe it on, and you wipe most of that off.
You do. You wipe it till it looks dry. And
then you sprayed how many courses? I call courses or 3 rounds.
3.
So
I put each guitar in the stand 3 times and sprayed a coat.
And there's so you had like 6. So you did all 6, and then you started back over again, all 6, and then start over.
Yeah. So it gives it a little bit of time to soak in, a little bit of time to sort of tack up. Not really, but yeah, just enough time.
So, but the amount, the thickness of the finish is not identical on every guitar. It's you just do it 3 times. But so it's not like adding a layer of paint like latex paint and then waiting for it to dry and then adding another one and then waiting for it to dry and then sanding back down to the first. It kind of is, but it's mostly not. And when you go to level sand, that is, you not get rid of the orange peel only, but get rid of any low spots too, because you can get rid of orange peel or make it look like you've gotten rid of orange peel and not get rid of any low patches.
Yeah.
You want to level everything out so everything is the same. There's no low spots or high spots.
Yeah. Well, and then you have things like binding around the body, and there can be little gaps in that. And it's really hard to see this stuff, when it's wood and plastic or when it's just wood. And you think, man, I have done the best job I've ever done. And then you put whatever sealer thing you do, and all of a sudden you see all these things. It's like, okay. And then you talk yourself into you won't be able to see it. By the time I put the final clear on it, it'll be fine. You won't see it. Nope.
I'll hide it in the sunburst.
It'll be, I'll hide it in the sunburst. You can hide things in sunburst. You can't hide gaps in between binding and wood that way. And so part of it is just learning to look for that stuff and know what to look for and deal with it before. Part of it is learning what to do if you do find it. I think for a lot of guys, the idea that you're only allowed to seal up something one time is wrong.
Yeah.
You can run it through sealer until it's perfect. And that's what you want, because if you want a perfect top coat, you have to have a perfect base coat.
Yeah.
So,
Booty Collins says, should you wear a mask when you're spraying outside? Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
You're probably probably swimming in it a little bit.
Yeah.
What I like to do is when I'm spraying outside, I like to spray into the wind. That way I catch all of it in my face.
Rob says, we might not get the recipe for your 73 finish, but out of all my guitars, that finish for the neck gives me a warmth and vibrance in my hand. Just saying. Yeah. I love the 73
finish is cool. And then we do the real nice neck treatment on the back, and they just feel like $1,000,000.
Yeah.
And they get better over time.
Yeah.
You know, it's smooth out of the box, and it just gets it just gets slicker. It's not because it's perfectly smooth.
Yeah.
It just gets even slicker. It's perfectly slick, just gets slicker.
It's more slick.
It's
Jake, we would love it if you came and
glosses
took
up a
one of
little
our
bit.
workshops from us.
Yeah. So
Jay is telling you to do it too, because Jay's been here and he's coming back, and him and Gary are going to come out again and have a good time with us.
Yeah. So the thing about paint is you have to put in a bunch of time.
Yeah.
And you have to be sort of flexible, learn from mistakes, and just keep charging forward and do it. And if it goes wrong, you can sand it off and do it again. If it goes wrong, Driddle likes to tell the story. 2 years ago, he got a hold of me and he's like, I'm going to start spraying blue on my guitar. And he sprayed it and he's like, oh, I got some runs in it. I guess I'll wait for it to dry and sand it off. And I sent him a thing. I was like, you can wipe it off. Lacquer thinner will take it off. You're not going to hurt the sealer coat with lacquer thinner. Really? Okay. And so he did that. He claims 3 or 4 times. I don't think so, but
I hope
that's
that
basically the idea is sometimes you can fix stuff as you go. Sometimes, you don't have to wait overnight and then sand that rubbery base coat off.
Yeah.
You can just
sometimes though it's a real bummer to get like one of the things that we want to do in these essential workshops is know that you're going to build something that is never going to be a thing.
Right.
And
I think that will take out a lot of that.
Yeah.
A lot of that whole every guitar has to be a guitar and
So for example, one of the necks that we build in our essential neck building classes is never going to be a neck. In fact, we kind of want you to go too far with it. We want you to make a bunch of mistakes.
Not going to have a truss rod
on your test.
Not going to. Yeah. And you can say, oh, wouldn't this be? No. If you want, you can hang it on your wall.
Yeah.
Matt or Chris might drill a giant hole through the middle of the neck. But yeah, it's never going to be a neck.
So if you know going in that some things are just the practice one, it kind of takes some of the heat off, and if you know going in that we want you to make these mistakes for a reason, then you'll make them. Yeah, that's absolutely right. Yep.
And that's part of the problem with the 5-day classes is we don't want you to fail. That's not an option. So but yeah, I think you can learn a lot of stuff by failing every once in a while.
SS wants to know whether Texas Toast Guitar School documentary is coming out or reality show. We've been on the we've been wanting to do that for a long time. So
our opportunity was when we had the big dumb beards. I mean, really, that was.
I know, dude.
I
know.
Now we're just a couple of white dudes.
Yeah.
Before we sort of had a Duck Dynasty, Gas Monkey thing going on
a little bit, yeah.
Now look at us.
Yeah. How many friends do you think we would have if we had our own TV show? We'd probably be really popular.
Hey man, I haven't seen you in a long time.
I've seen you for 25 years. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. One of the biggest bummer parts about talking about doing a reality show was someone said that so and so would be the Chum Lee character. I'm like, that's a tacky thing to say. I'm not talking smack on Chum.
It?
I'm not going to tell you who it was, and you know who they were talking about. It wasn't you that said it, and it wasn't you they were talking about. Yeah. It was someone who used to work here and doesn't anymore, and it wasn't very funny.
Yeah.
Some of those reality shows are so corny that
doesn't seem to be as much of a thing as it used to be.
No, I don't think so. Unless you're like, 21 and crashing motorcycles into each other to get dates with some, hunky stud. So anyway, Joy does have something really cool in the works, and it's not a documentary and it's not a reality TV show, but I think you guys are going to really dig it. So stay tuned for more on that. But Chris, we've got a few more minutes to talk about stuff, and I want to get back to Floyd Rose equipped guitars, and I've got a guitar right now that it's got a trem. And it is very reminiscent of the original Steve Stevens Hamer model.
Okay.
And I'm just making it. I'm not making it for any reason other than I'm just making it.
There was wood and.
Yeah, but you know what? It doesn't have. I don't think we could fit a lock nut on it. I do have a Floyd. We could put a Floyd on it.
Yeah. But
I don't know that we could fit a lock nut to the neck. Okay. I'm sure we could, but yeah. So what do you think about at some point, I've been thinking about it like one of the non-fine-tuned Floyd bridges with locking tuners. And I'm like, well, but why not just go with a Hipshot trim and locking tuner? Would that be just as good?
I think there's more movement on a Floyd than even a Hipshot.
You like more ability to dump it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's really what people want out of a Floyd is that loosey-goosey from tuned to completely slack.
Okay. Do you think you can do that on the original, the Vinnie Vincent model?
I'm sure you can. Yeah. And so, I know I can keep a Hipshot trim in tune. I know I can keep a Jazzmaster trim in tune. I don't know why I couldn't keep a Floyd Rose without a locking nut and no fine tuners in tune.
What if we put the one with fine tune? Lots of guitars have fine tuners with
really,
no
if you didn't
lock nut.
If you didn't ever touch those, that would be fine too, right?
Or if you did for some people like to tune down here. I don't know.
Yeah. And that would be fine. I had a Les Paul with no trim, but a fine-tuned bridge.
BB King's had a fine-tuner bridge.
It was all brass, and
Yeah,
but yeah, and that was fine. I mean, if you want to use it, you can. If you don't want to use it, you can.
What do you guys think? Is the Floyd Rose still cool? Is our trim still cool? I'm looking here. We have Rusty's guitar has a trim, but other than that, I don't think there's any trims. We don't make a lot of trem guitars. I don't know why. I like them. I think they're neat, but we make very, very few guitars with Floyds these days. And maybe
we've made some. We've made, we did a whole class around Floyds. Yeah.
Here's what is very telling to me. We have our 2025 course schedule is available right now. You can go on the website and you can sign up for actually the rest of the year and into 2025. No one has signed up for the Super Strat workshop. Of course, now, having said that, no one has signed up for the October Strat class, which I'm okay with. If we don't do that one, I'm okay with it. It was kind of a last minute thing. But that's a very, okay, what about this? It's Ultimate Strat Workshop. Do you think we should be able to say, hey, if you can do a Super Strat in Ultimate Strat Workshop?
Yeah.
I guess, right? Yeah. It wouldn't be that big of a deal. Okay. Scooter Mo says, I've got a guitar with non-fine tuner Floyd and a regular nut. It's pretty cool. It looks pretty cool. Mike G says 90% of a luthier's work is assembling the guitar. The other 90% is finishing the guitar. Well, you're 50%, right?
That's 180%, man.
Jay says, are any classes already sold out? Jay, some of them are really, really close.
Next year.
The one that Jay and Gary signed up for, I think there's only 2 spots left.
Yeah.
There's some that are more popular than others. Jim says Floyds are cool, but dollar. I think at that point you might as well go for the Hipshot trim. Yeah. So I love the Hipshot trim. I mean, can you really whammy it? Can you dump it, or does anybody do that anymore?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, that first Van Halen album was recorded without a Floyd,
Without a Floyd,
and he was
yeah.
dumping all over the place. Yeah. So.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I think it depends on where the arm is, and what your technique is, and
Mhm.
yeah.
I think the look I'm going for though is, like I said, that Steve Stevens kind of Hamer thing, and maybe we should just jam that Floyd in there. We could put the recess on it, and I don't even know if we could put the recess on it actually. Now that I think about it, yeah, might be too late, but it wouldn't be too late for a Hipshot trim. So, okay.
How many motorcycle noises do you need to make?
All the motorcycle noises. Paul's not going to be able to come out this year. Paul, maybe 2025 you can do that.
Paul McNary.
Yeah, Dan says he's going to decide on his 2025 workshop when he gets here and we can chat. Man, I tell you what, man, the SG one and the semi hollow body one are like filling up fast. I think we might need to add more of those. We're coming to the end of our hour, Chris. Loring says he wants to know if there's going to be a reveal tomorrow. I think we're going to have something to reveal tomorrow. I think Joy's taking pictures of it tonight.
Okay.
But I don't know. Steve says, does body shape tend to something lead to Floyd choice? Steve, I think that in this case it might, because it's a guitar that I'm remembering from my youth, and I don't know. It's not that cool.
Typically, you want to know what bridge you're using before you start building the guitar.
Yeah.
Or, getting everything exactly where you need it, neck angle, neck pocket depth, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And there's guys that want the Floyd recessed way into the body and virtually, very, very little string height from body to strings. And there's other guys that frankly don't care.
What happens though is if you start to recess the Floyd, but you haven't allowed for, so if you imagine a regular Strat trim, the back of there's like 1/8 of an inch or less on the back edge of the trim route. And if you go and recess that, now you have this hole that you can't unsee that you really don't need to be there. It's probably okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know that it's necessary to. Different trims look good. We've got a Hipshot 6-hole that's like a vintage style, and it doesn't look good on anything but a Strat. I've tried to force it on some stuff, and I'm like, it just doesn't look cool. The one with the little ridge around it looks excellent on everything.
Yeah, it works up. Yeah, because it looks
except
mostly
Strats.
like a Hipshot trims or Hipshot hardtail bridge.
Yeah.
So
and I love all the Hipshot stuff. I love the hardtails, and I love the trims. Why is no one buying that telly that's directly behind you, Chris? It's on the website. It's available.
It is, and
we're practically
nice
giving
guitar.
it away.
Ike played it today, and he was like, "This thing rocks."
Yep.
I said, "I know, Ike. I know."
Yep. So anyway, well, guys, we're going to let you guys go over and hang out with Dylan McCurch and his lovely wife, Leslie. They're going live probably right now. We've bled into their time, unfortunately, once again. And we'll see you guys tomorrow for some kind of reveal, and we'll see you Sunday for a cool video about finish. And have a great weekend, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.